What up, Cowboys Nation and YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting down below. I make these videos for me and you, and they're a little therapeutic. Welcome to what I'm gonna call the Mid-Season Awards, as I've seen some other channels, some other YouTubers giving out some mid-season awards for the team. I thought I'd go ahead and give my opinion, and it's not what you think. It's not what you think. My mid-season award is going to Mike McCarthy, because as our head coach, he has taken the brunt of Jerry Jones, talking about his job security, receiving a team that basically lost his starting quarterback for 4 games and still is afloat in a playoff chase. And basically all we talked about in the preseason was how many penalties we were getting. And now it's an afterthought. We don't even talk about it like that. And also the great way he's kept Kellen Moore from not doing stupid stuff. And our special teams coach from not doing stupid stuff. You got to give that man props for doing everything he's doing this season. He's keeping a lion hungry. He's keeping the rest of the team focused and ready to go. And everything he has done since he's been head of the team. And that's a hard job to do with the Joneses. Because you have to work with what they give you. And that's not an easy thing to do, just as Jason Garrett, because he got stuck with players he didn't want. At times, he had like drafts where they were just complete bonkers. Schemes didn't work out. Offenses didn't work some years. Defenses didn't work a lot of years. Your quarterback aging out basically due to injury and everything, and just never having replacements for, any kind of injury concerns or anything like that. No next man up. So having Mike McCarthy go through his ups and downs since he's been head coach, and now this year it looks like it's coming round to hopefully excuse me, a deeper playoff run. It says a lot about him as a head coach. I know some people will say Dan Quinn for head coach, but we saw him as a head coach in Atlanta. We don't want that. We want him as our defensive coordinator, and he can stay there and do the best work he can. Head coach, not so much. The head coaching thing is probably a little too much for him. Sticking to a defense and doing that day to day seems to be his forte. That's my mid-season award, going to our head coach, who's done what he has done this season alone, and yet these previous seasons still keeping it real and having to do what he can do with the Joneses literally coming out and saying something out the side of their neck that's completely, possibly opposite of what he's got to say. So kudos to head coach Mike McCarthy for my mid-season awards. Next, I want to talk about Odell Beckham. He seems to be on the lips of a lot of people right now. It's not the players' fault. It's not the fans' fault. It's the Joneses. They threw it out there as well. When basically you have a problem at wide receiver and you refuse to admit it, and you have a whole offseason and like 7 weeks of a season to get something done by a trade deadline, and you wait till the last second to go after a Jerry Jeudy or a Brandon Cooks or any other wide receiver out there, and then you complain that it's a money thing? Like, that's your excuse? Like, come on, man. you knew you had a deficiency when you started seeing our games and our tight ends and running backs doing way more work than the damn wide receivers, and you wait till the last minute to try and pull a trigger on a receiver? That's not due diligence. That's bullshit. That is y'all fucking around and not trying to admit there's a problem and having it blow up in your face when shit don't go your way just because you're the Joneses and the Cowboys. So your next best option is going after a guy who's got a torn ACL and supposedly is going to get medically cleared this week per a report, to try and come in here in December around the same time as Tyron Smith and try and make a playoff run. Now, he did it for the Rams, but he was healthy. That's a big difference. He wasn't trying to round back into shape from an ACL injury, you know? So, them trying to go out and get him, sure, go ahead. I don't see a problem with that. You need the help. Because I don't know what James Washington is going to give us whenever he returns. So that kind of hurts you too, but you know what kind of player you're getting in Odell. He said he wanted to go to a contender and he wants to go for a longer term contract, so maybe that works in the Cowboys' favor as far as money goes, because they got money, but they act like they don't want to spend it, so they're going to lowball him, and you know that how that's probably going to play out. So I'm not putting too much faith in actually getting him, but the feelers are out there, so we'll see what happens with that. Lastly, I want to talk about the so-called Zeke and Pollard controversy, where there is none. Let's face it, there are thunder and lightning. I don't know why the talking heads are trying to make it a bigger deal than what it is. They're trying to make it seem like they're against each other or one player is better than the other. I mean, you have two guys on your team that can get you yardage. One's not as explosive as the other, but one does certain things better than the other. They both have their attributes that are great, and you use that. There should be no reason to sit up here and try to pick one over the other. That's bullshit. If you don't have two running backs to talk about, then that's your problem as an organization, not ours. I'm happy to have two. Shoot. But if you saw sounds from the sideline, Pollard himself said he was gassed. That's too many touches. And him trying to do that the 50-yarder touchdown, he said he was tired, that his legs were heavy, and it's just too much. This is probably why he doesn't get as much touch as as everybody wants him to get, because he burns himself out too quick because he is so explosive. And then if he's no good or he gets hurt, then what you're going to do? Don't get me wrong, Malik was great in his limited time, and I'm mad they took away his touchdown, but come on. Just have the both of them do their thing and stop worrying about how many touches they get, how many yards they get. This is not a statistical thing. This is an eyeball test, and both play to their strengths, and everybody else needs to shut the fuck up as long as we're winning, right? But that's all I want to say about that. That's it. That's over. And lastly, I do want to give a honorable mention for that midseason award. Cooper Rush, great job. Thank you for what you did for us. You're never going to get the credit you deserve, because a lot of us were already down on you, and then you basically came and shocked the world. So kudos for keeping our season afloat, and stick around. You might earn yourself something in the end of this season if all goes well, and it's because of you. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. Technically our victory Monday, because you can't lose on a bye week. But anyways, have a good day. I'll talk to you next time. Stay safe, take care. VA Dallas Cowboy fan out.